Hey everyone, it's Woody, and welcome to WoodYaTalk. We're going to do things a bit different tonight, because we got the Jobbies. We're going to talk about the Jobbies. I'm joined by Bomber.
Hey, what's going on? Before we get into it, I just want to say this year is definitely it feels a lot different than the previous 2 years, mainly because of my fault on, almost shutting shit down, but I still am happy overall. I do think 2019 was a good year, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Well, everything's your fault anyway, so...
That's true. That is true.
That's not much talker.
Not anymore, though. You can't blame me for the shit that goes wrong now.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that later, aren't we? Oh, yeah, we are.
Mm-hmm.
And besides Bomber, we've got our very first guest tonight. He's my good buddy. He's your world champion. Fear me fucking Jesus.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
This guy right here. You guys, I already can tell you guys are gonna fucking double team me. By the way, I already know.
Yeah, we are.
I already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we'll find out. We just want to jump right into it. We want to talk about the Jobbies.
Yeah. I think we should start talking about the Jobbies just right away. We'll cover some of the other stuff, maybe going into 2020 just at the very end, I guess. Just kind of what we have looked forward to. But I guess start off right with the Jobbies. And I was telling Beer Me, I think you stepped away before we started recording, but if you want to start at the bottom of the list, that way we work our way up.
I heard that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, man, I think we should get right into it.
I'm hyped. Let's do it.
Yeah, and we'll cover like a lot of stuff along the way. We're not just gonna just go straight down the row here, everybody. So we're gonna cover as much as we can as we go. So,
all right. What are we doing? Are we doing the turn of the year?
Yes, let's do it. You want me to just go through and read everything off, I guess?
Yep.
All right, so the first category we're going to cover is the JRPL Turn of the Year. Now, here are your nominees. I'll just read them off here. Redhead 12, Scott, The Warden, Wookie, UVC, CM Carlito, and, of course, we got Woody. So, obviously, Turn of the Year, when you're making your picks, everybody is going to look at stuff different. I look at a lot of my stuff kayfabe-wise. Somebody else might not look at their stuff kayfabe-wise. That's the wonder of, the Jobbies and what you want to vote for. But looking at this right here, I need to know right now, Beer Me Jesus, what were you looking for? What do you think was your turn of the year?
Oh man, this one was kind of tough because I was looking for it to either be like a giant hero going to the villain side, or it's got to be the villain going to the good guy's side. I think I went with Warden on this.
Mm-hmm.
For the simple fact that the solution was always a close-knit family. Like, we all started this, and nobody thought that he would ever turn his back on us, but he did. So that's why I picked him.
Yeah, Warden's a good one. Now, the question that I have around some of these is some of these turns weren't necessarily, heel going to face or face going to heel. Some were just turning on people. Like for example, I think Redhead 12. Redhead 12's always been a damn heel. Always.
Yeah.
And she turned face for a split second, and then turned right back heel again. So that one, even though it was a very big moment, it depends how you look at things when you're voting. Do you consider that a big turn if she was already a heel and then basically did another heel thing? So, things like that, you got to take in consideration when you're voting.
If I could have recasted my vote, I probably would have voted for Scott because nobody's seen his turn really coming at all. Like, he was like this beloved hero.
I don't think Scott seen his turn coming.
Right.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I kind of almost forced when I, did the whole, hey, we're not going to do the JRPL anymore, which I know we'll get into that some more on this show. Because it's going to come up in some of the awards. But Woody, what is your, since you are going to be doing your picks live as we're doing this, What are you gonna bubble in right here for your turn of the year?
Oh, well, first I'm looking at something that impacted the JRPL after that turn, not just like that spur of the moment, but something that had ripple effects
Okay.
for like a few shows or even shows after that.
Mm-hmm.
For that, I mean, there's a few like Wo- Wookie. When did Wookie turn?
I don't know the exact show, but excuse me, Wookie's always been more of a tweener type deal for a
Yeah.
while. He's just been, this big red machine, I guess, just basically like a Kane figure, like as his big pick base, but he really actually turned heel not long ago. And I don't know the
Okay.
exact show. It's more recent.
Yeah.
He's one of the people that, or he's one of the guys that the creative team really argued to put on this list. So that's how he pretty much ended up there. I didn't think it was as big, personally, in my opinion. He's been
Yeah.
doing fantastic as of late, but as
Oh,
far as
he
turns
has.
go,
Yeah. Was it when he attacked Spring Tigress after the match or something like that?
I think so. He's done a couple things. I think he's attacked Spring Tigers a couple times, but I think that was the main heel turn. So
Yeah. Um, I think it's down to either Scott or the Warden, and I might be a little like I'm not trying to be biased at all, but I think the Warden's turn, like, it could have been even better than what it was if it was given time. But
mhm.
for what it was, I think it kind of outweighs Scott in just like the slightest bit for me personally.
Yeah. No, I understand. Warden did have a big, and I don't know if we've ever really talked about this on the show or not before in the previous episodes, but the whole plan was we were actually planning out a big behind the scenes thing between the Warden and Beer Me Jesus, and that was
Oh, wow.
going to lead into the main event of Survivor Series. But obviously, I fucked things up, as far as my situation went. And Warden, I don't know if that caused him to get burnt out or if he's always been burnt out, but he decided to just, end things right at All Out. And I think that, to me, hurt his turn a little bit if you were talking about overall, like, later down the road. I think Warden's turn would have been way stronger and way better if we would have seen that story through. But either way,
Yeah.
it was big. It was shocking. It was a very huge moment of the year, I think. So, definitely up in the top for sure.
Yeah. And we'll talk like I'll talk more about the mindset I have like with Scott and his turns when we get into like the next award,
Yeah,
because that's kind of like gonna go hand in hand with my mindset.
sure. Yeah. And some people, me included, when we make some picks in here, yes, you are gonna fall into some bias, picks and stuff, and that's okay. Because I fell into that with mine here, because I picked the UVC. Now, Scott's turn. You know what? Fuck, I'm an idiot. Okay, Scott should have been my vote. Okay, Scott, I'm admitting right now on air, 100%. Scott should have been my pick. I
did
picked.
the same.
I picked out of biasism on this one. I didn't always do that. I will admit it when I do. Scott, to me, I think turn of the year. I think I think it is down between him and Warden, and I think I should have picked Scott. UVC's, on paper, it's big because UVC has been this major heel faction all throughout the year. We'll get into this. One of the most dominant stables all the way throughout the year until the very end, and we decided to change our ways and go face, which on paper, that was really big. In execution, I think it was pretty solid, but I still don't think it was as big as Scott's thing. So right now, I'm admitting I fucked up.
I feel like your guys' turn needs more time. It's not fulfilled yet, or I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I understand. We started a little bit of it right after what the fuck was that show? It was a house show. Me and Scott started, doing a little bit of him trying to. Oh, it was the build up to Survivor Series. He was trying to. He recruited Jut and Bastion. Obviously, Bomber has always had problems with him, with Scott. So storyline wise, Bomber and Scott are not on the same page, and he was against that, and it made it look like UVC for a moment. Hey, something. They might break up. Something might happen here because Jut and Bastion are going to do their thing and ignoring Bomber. But in the end, at Survivor Series, we turned face. They helped me. I helped them, and we said big fuck you to the big heel Scott. And UVC did the turn there. It was, I think, like I said, I think it was pretty strong, but not as strong as Scott here. So I apologize to Scott when he hears this, because he probably will, and I apologize to you for voting against you.
I'm kind of shocked that Lee didn't make the list for the turn of the year.
Turn? When? I thought he was always been a heel. Or did I miss something?
Well, Scott was never a heel, was he? Whenever he was with Lee?
No. Yeah, but when Lee came back, he came back earlier this year, I think. Yeah, because he
came back as the Midnight Rider.
Yeah, Lee was face the whole time, and then when he died, he came, or quote unquote died. He came back as the Midnight Rider. The Midnight Rider's always been a heel, though, I feel. So
yeah, but Lee is the Midnight Rider.
True. I mean, I can see that. I guess.
Whenever he came back, Lee turned on Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I can possibly see that. I don't know. I guess we really didn't think about that one. Think that through that way, but yeah. So either way, I still think, even if that was the case, even if Lee was up there, I think I fucked up and should have voted for Scott. But I think Scott, Warden are the top two. And yeah, I think those should be the top two. I think top three are Scott, Warden, UVC. They're all pretty close, but I think Scott edges it out.
All right.
So
the heel of the helium?
Yeah, let's go to heel of the year. We got the Finn, Lee, aka Midnight Rider, Redhead 12, Bomber, Scott, Hiroshi Moses, and Bastion. Bastion was last year's winner, by the way, for heel of the year. Just keep track on that. So I guess I'll start this one off. To me, this came down to a couple people. It came down to Hiroshi Moses, which a lot of the character stuff, unfortunately, was not really on his part, because he kind of left the JRPL when a lot of his heel character stuff was done, as far as killing the league. I will admit that, but I still think that character was a pretty big heel. I think Bomber's character was a major heel throughout the year. And Lee, I think, to me, those are the top three heels of 2019, in my opinion. And I did end up going with myself based off of the story of the whole LJ scenario. The whole Bomber is this terrible person. Then again, I guess if you want to look at it another way, you can say, actually, that should be Hito, because he tricked Bomber. So I guess it depends how you look at it. But throughout most of the year, Bomber was that heel. So yes, I did vote for myself here on this category, because I do stand by this one. Unlike the turn of the year, I do think Bomber was, if not the heel of the year, easily one of the top heels of the year. Woody, what are you thinking?
Okay. To me, it's down to Lee, Bomber, and Scott. But my issue with Scott with being heel of the year, that was a semi-recent one, yeah?
Yeah, he turned at All Out.
Okay. And he's been doing great things, but
yes.
I don't like a lot of the things he has kind of, to me, his heel thing is all in his head, kind of he thinks he should be this, he thinks he should be that.
Mm-hmm.
And that works as a heel, and he's been doing great things. Your character, at the beginning of the year with LJ, that was great. I loved all that. What else did you do?
As far as the heel?
Yeah.
Just pretty much the UVC had this story from the very beginning of the year. where we were kind of the dominant. Our story was kind of we were the dominant faction, and we were the bad guy heels that were shitting on everybody throughout the beginning of the year. Now my story kind of deviated a little bit from, the UVC story once the whole LJ stuff went down. And that was such a good happy accident that I fucked up there. And I'm so glad that LJ was a team player. So that ended up making that story great. But that's pretty, and throughout the year, I mean, my other part of the story was I was just the unbeatable ultra-violent champion throughout the year. So
yeah.
I held the title from, I was the champion before the year started all the way up till September. So that's 9 months as the top, UV, hardcore guy. So.
Yeah. I think, you know what? I think you just sold me on you.
I'm not here to sell you on me. I'm just,
I completely forgot about the UV thing.
Okay. So what are you guys' thoughts on the Finn and Redhead, though?
I actually, I can't remember who I voted for, but thinking about it, I think I would have picked the Finn, to be honest, because he was like a big bad heel later in the year, but he also won the world title. And thinking about it, and he always uses that damn hammer. So
I just twice. Like, is he a two-time world champion?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Is he a two-time world champion, Finn?
Yes, he is. He won the title twice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I kind of
twice in 1 year, actually, which is pretty big. He won it at SummerSlam. He did lose it right away, but he won it at SummerSlam, and then he won it again at Crown Jewel. So.
Yeah, he would get my vote.
Finn took out one of the Legends members. Was it Kier one?
Are you talking about Dark Rider?
Dark Rider, yeah, he took him out, like kayfabe wise.
Yeah, Dark Rider. I don't know if he still listens to us or pays attention, but yeah, he stepped away from the JRPL. Will be missed. He did a lot of good things in that short amount of time he was here, but yeah, he was taken out. The Finn was. The unfortunate thing about the Finn is all his stuff, his character-wise stuff, is developed by the creative team or me, because he's not as active of a member. He's not on the Discord. He's not in the he's not really role playing and stuff. So his character is really developed through our stuff. So the hammer, like all that kind of stuff, was all developed over time. And I don't think that should be held against him. I'm just pointing out these things. I don't think somebody should. Oh, well, he's not coming up with that. That character shouldn't be heel of the year. I'm not saying that, because I obviously said Hito should be looked at as a good heel too. But Finn definitely accomplished a hell of a lot this year. You can't take that away from him.
I really liked Lee's stuff with the Midnight Rider too, because like when he came onto the scene and it was just those videos, you're like, who is this guy? And then then they were badass videos, and his character work was really good with that.
So good.
Lee was actually my vote before I remember the whole thing with Bomber, because I thought I still think that like his stuff with the Midnight Rider was just really good, like him hanging everyone.
Yeah, he had a really good gimmick. That was all on him. He completely came up with that. I didn't have anything to do with that. But I will say, I think the whole heel of the year category this year is like stacked. I think there's a lot of people that are worthy of getting this award.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong picking anybody.
Yeah, we didn't really bring up a lot about Bastion and Redhead, but I don't. Bastion didn't have a whole lot storyline wise this year, as far as I kind of had the story where I was the dominant UV champion and he was the dominant top block champion, which was great. But I had this whole other like story behind Bomber being a heel. Bastion was more of like this. He was on top of all the power rankings as the heel, but he really didn't do as many hardcore like heel things as he did the previous year, gouging out people's eyes, killing people, all that kind of stuff, like he did last year, and the year before. But so him and Redhead, I think, had a pretty good year as a heel too, but I don't think it quite added up to some of the other people on the list. But I think everybody here made this a really strong category.
Oh yeah.
So I think that one's pretty good. Let's move over to face. Face of the year. I'm going down here. Now I'll say this right off the bat. I don't think the faces this year were as dominant as the heels as far as the category goes. So
Oh no.
face
No.
of the year is Ash, Scott again, Spring Tigress, the GMSG, Tino, LJ, and Beer Me Jesus. So I guess what are you thinking right off the bat here, Woody?
I'm gonna be honest. A lot of these names are kind of like. I think it really just comes down to three, but I think my gut's saying LJ
Mm,
because his the start of the year, like his whole thing with you was great. It
hmm
was great. Like it still like pops in my mind. But then when I look at things like what was it? Tigress. Tigress won last year, I think.
Yeah,
Face of the
Tigers.
year.
Yep, Tigers was face of the year last year. Yep.
And like it's no fault to her, but like I can't think of a lot of things she's done this year that would warrant face of the year. Same with like GMSG, like Tigers and GMSG. Tino was with what's his name? Luke Gray?
Yeah, he's
Like
with him
he's with
now.
him
Yep.
now.
hmm
I mean Ash is more like they've always been more of tweeners. Scott, I mean, yeah, Scott he could be a contender for he's a really good pick as well, but I think I'm just gonna go LJ.
All right. Well. Okay. Well, Beer Me Jesus. He didn't mention you. What are your thoughts here?
It's all right. It's all right. You know, I'm not feeling any hatred towards it. I actually voted for GMSG for face of the year
Okay.
because
What's your thought?
because HMF is like I feel like they're like the top face stable, and
Sure. Yeah.
he had I think he had the most wins of anybody this year. So I just went ahead and picked him.
That's probably true. Yeah, I think that is more of this face category as compared to like heel of the year. There was a lot of, bad guy, stories that went into the heels. Faces this
Yep.
year, there weren't a whole lot of, good guy stories. I will say because you mentioned Spring Tigress earlier. She had her story earlier was her earlier in the year. It wasn't any time recent, but her hurt neck. She was like the underdog. I mean, she's kind of always been that underdog character, but she had a hurt neck. She was going out there fighting. She was winning the top block title. Well, she was fighting for the top block title. She ended up getting the Road Warrior title and stuff. And her other story that she did this year was with, again, it was early in the year. It was with Hito, because Hiroshi Moses, he was feuding with GMSG, and he took on Spring Tigress as his, like, I don't know, almost captive, almost not quite, but something along those lines. He was trying to brainwash her type deal. So that was her story. GMSG actually, I mean, his only real feud and story that he had was with Hito, and he ended up losing it at WrestleMania, like the big blow off match. He actually lost it, which was,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that as upset of the year because it's up there. Very surprising loss there. Tino, he was just one of the top. He was like on top of all the power rankings almost for the first half of the year. He was the world champion. He won his second world title.
He won the Rumble.
He won the Rumble, which is
Yeah.
huge.
I was second.
Yeah. Beer Me Jesus, you've had a very interesting 2019. I will say that.
Ups and downs.
Yeah, ups and downs. I mean, I think a lot of us, pretty much everybody did. We'll get into that later too. But I think as far as you go, you really ended the year on with a major face note. Like the very end of the show, like people coming out and celebrating, like it was that big feel good moment. I'm not going to quite compare you to Kofi Kingston, but it was it was one of those really feel good moments that Ash had last year when he won the world title finally.
Yeah.
So that was a big moment. That was your your major face moment. And Ash, I mean, Ash was, he wasn't, I mean, I guess I would say he wasn't a major face of the year for me, as far as I'm concerned. He did great, but as far as face of the year, I didn't see him that high up. But my vote went to Scott. Because Scott, man, the whole year he had his hopes and he was gonna marry the woman that he fell in love with, Redhead 12, and she backstabbed him. He had that super babyface run there. He ended up winning the Love Is Hell in a Cell. Then right after that, immediately after that, his old ally Lee ended up being the Midnight Rider, and then he had a big feud with him. To me, I think the face of the year to me would be Scott.
Yeah.
And I will say this: I'm looking at the numbers right now, and it is this category is super close. I'm not going to reveal any numbers, but this is a very close category. At this moment in time, it is up to anybody to win this thing. Everybody's got votes. I'll say that. There's votes across the board, and it's really tight. It's anybody's ball game who wins this Face of the Year category right now. So
Yeah, because Scott went on that big like main show win streak in the like beginning to middle of the year,
yeah,
and now he's on some other streak, but we don't have to talk about that.
yeah. I think like 9 losses in a row. 9, 8 or 9, one or the other. It's bad. But if you look at it for Face of the Year, WrestleMania, he was the co-main event or third match, I think maybe the third match, and it was to me one of the bigger stories of the whole show was with Red. And then at SummerSlam, he was the main event with Lee, and then at Survivor Series, he was the main event against JD. Face of the Year for me is definitely going to go with Scott, even though at Survivor Series he was the bad guy. But that is what it is. I think it goes to Scott for me. So unless you guys got anything else, we're moving on.
Let's do it.
All right.
Good.
So Trash Talker of the Year. This is, role player, aka role player of the year. Doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad guy talking shit. It could be a good guy, being a face. But the nominees are Jonathan C.T. Martin, Lee, Hawk, Vitamin Yes, Redhead 12, and Scott. I guess I'll throw my vote out there first. To me, this came down between two people. Yes, it shows a lot of dedication when you get in there and you type a lot of stuff in the Discord and stuff. But when you go out and you're making videos, when you're like changing your lighting in the background and you're like bringing in props and stuff, man, I have to give my vote to Scott. Scott goes above and beyond when he's taking his character into consideration and role playing. So Scott did win this last year, and I am voting again. I think I voted him last year, and I think I'm voting him again. I did vote him for him this year for Trash Talker of the Year. Lee did great stuff. Lee, he did a whole nother with the mask and the Midnight Rider and the music video type stuff. Really good stuff. I think they both did fantastic, but I'm giving the edge to Scott for my vote. So I guess Beer Me, do you remember who you voted for this one?
I don't, but to me, it would come down to either Lee, Scott, or Vitamin. Just the fact that Vitamin puts a lot into the character chat as well.
He does,
and
definitely does.
And he's got some good stuff. Yeah, you're right. You're kind of right with Scott though, with all the props and stuff. I remember that Midnight Rider one that he did where he was wearing like different masks and all that, and
yeah,
it was good stuff. But I think I would, if I had to re-vote, I think I would vote for Lee. Because I don't know, I just really like his videos. Those music videos were great.
He did, yeah, those were really fun. Yeah, I didn't mention Vitamin Yes, but yeah, he definitely is very active in the chat, and he's the only one that I know of out there that's starting a campaign to vote for him. So we'll see if that helps him out. So that's cool. He did that previous years too. But Woody, what are you thinking since you're about to vote?
There's one specific video character chat thing that I still remember to this day. And it was when Scott, I think it was near the wedding thing, whenever he had that red food coloring or red dye or whatever the shit it was.
Uh-huh.
And he put it on the wedding invitations, I think it was.
Yes, you're right. Yes, I forgot about that. That's huge.
And just because of that, and that, that's a ton of work. Everything he does, it's thoughtful. Everything like that. My vote has to go to Scott. Everyone on this list, they've done with a trash talker. Like they've done good things, but that's just something else. Like that's just easy. That's easy right there.
Yeah, one of the new names that you don't that we haven't seen yet pop on here was Hawk, who's he's a rookie this year, and Hawk's done a fantastic job role playing, getting in the chat and stuff like that. Like I said, everybody has in this category that's nominated, but kudos to him for being new and jumping in and running with it. So I think Hawk did a fantastic job this year with his trash talk / role play stuff. But I agree, just what you said, man. Scott kind of went above and beyond for this year. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens next year. Who knows what the hell he's gonna be like driving to somebody's fucking house. Who knows what Scott's gonna do? So yeah, I guess let's move on to the Kayfabe Award. This is what moment stood out in 2019 among all the others. So the first one, let me scroll up here. Warden falls into a coma at WrestleMania. Scott turns, brutally attacking JD at All Out. Team No Chance cash in their tag team Money in the Bank briefcase at TakeOver Phoenix. Bomber fires LJ at G1 Supercard. Scott's proposal to Redhead at Ring of Honor. Lily Pilly is injured at the hands of Scott at Full Gear. And Hiroshi Moses kills the League at SummerSlam. I guess, Beer Me, you want to start this one off? What did you go with here, if you remember?
Yeah. I don't. But I think I would. I think the two that stick out to me would either be Hero killing the League because we all thought that it was really dead.
Me
or
too.
It was going to die.
100%. I was 100% on board with that. Yes. So.
Yeah. I would say either that or Scott's turn and beating JD up because again I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, that was big too. Those are two very big moments. What are you thinking there, Woody?
Well, Warden falling into a coma. I think I don't remember. I don't remember the exact moment it happened, but I remember everything after that. Like I remember the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember him falling into a coma, so that's something.
That was. I mean, I'll tell you real quick. It was his match, the King of the Road match for the Road Warrior title, where he fell off the side of the truck and fell onto an oncoming car, like through the windshield, and it put him into a coma. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. For some
Never
reason,
seen a man in a coma do so much kayfabe work. It was great.
Yeah.
What else? Scott turning on JD. I didn't see that coming at all. Like that's a good kayfabe award. Like I don't think a lot of people saw that coming at all. No Chance casting in the Money in the Bank briefcase. That was a elimination chamber, right? Like they locked everyone in.
Yep, that was at TakeOver Phoenix where Jut was going to defend his title in the elimination chamber, and out came Team No Chance as everybody was locked in their pods and cashed in. It was to me super cool moment. I fucking loved that write up. That was really fun. That tag team cash in, very fun there.
Okay. Bomber fires LJ. Like that was near Mania? Did you two have? Was it the Mania match you two had?
Yeah, it was G1 Supercard. It was like the night before Mania, I think, or the 2 nights before Mania, whatever it was. It was that was because I had to do it at spur of the moment. That's why it was so rushed because I had no time to react and so that's what happened. It was the night before Mania.
Scott proposes Redhead. That's another one I didn't see coming. Like it's another good kayfabe award. A lot of these I don't see coming. Lily injured Scott. Like that's something. But I think Hero gets my vote, to be honest, because out of all these, like that's the one I think people talked about the most out of all of these. Like because everyone thought it was gone. I thought it was done. Yeah. Everyone thought it was done.
Yeah. Yep. I you know what? I've already voted. I did not vote for Hiroshi Moses, but you know what? out of when you go back and look at all these, nothing really affected the JRPL the way that did this year. That was like I should have thought about it differently. That to me was like, because moment of the year, kayfabe moment of the year. I think that was easily like the biggest moment of the entire year for the JRPL. All the other stuff, there was great moments, really good stuff, but I think that did deeply impact the JRPL more than any of those other stories. I ended up voting for the Scott's proposal to Redhead because it was outside the box. I really love that whole story that they did. I wasn't even on board with it beforehand. We talked about that before. But those two Red and Scott got together. They developed their story and they fought back against all of the Tag Team Classic, which was really, slowing down their progress for their story. But they really did a very good job turning everything around. And just like you were talking about with the wedding invitations, I completely forgot about that. That was so awesome. To me, that was more of an outside the box, super memorable thing. I mean, look, most of us, in the JRPL are a bunch of dudes, okay? And when you got dudes marrying dudes character-wise, that's outside the box. Like, and it's cool. I love it. It was different, memorable for me, so that's why I voted for that. But now that you guys bring it up, the Hiroshi Moses thing, dude, nothing impacted the year like that moment. So I fully agree with anybody who votes for that category or votes for that, nomination. So yeah, I agree. Okay, I guess. Moving on. We moving on, guys? We moving on?
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. Here we go. The last storyline award. Feud of the year. So we got Cam Popplestone versus the UVC, Lee versus Scott, Hiroshi Moses versus the AHMF, Scott versus Redhead, Legends of New School versus Blissful Enigmas, LJ versus Bomber, and Jay Dionio versus Scott. I guess I'll start it off. Cam Popplestone UVC. I think this one was one that just barely made the list. I don't want to, discredit the story. I think what me and Cam Popplestone did storyline wise, which really started last year and ended this year at WrestleMania. Our big blow off was at WrestleMania. And then Cam Popplestone went on to fight Bastion and stuff and challenged a couple times for the Top Block title. So that's how the whole UVC got involved. It was decent, but I don't think it holds up as far as the rest of these on this list. Lee versus Scott, fantastic stuff. Lee was really building this up from the very beginning when he came back as the Midnight Rider. So it all was going to boil down to him versus Scott, and they did a fantastic job. That finished at SummerSlam. Hiroshi Moses and AHMF. That was the whole, like we just talked about a little while ago, GMSG and him, and then Tigress and Green Machine got involved a little bit in some matches. Good story, but I think that was more along the lines of the Cam Popplestone one, not as big, but still a good, good story that happened earlier this year. Scott versus Red, outside the box, just talked about it, loved it, absolutely loved that story. I think I voted for that. I don't honestly remember exactly which one I voted for this category. I think it was that. Legend of New School, Blissful Enigmas. I don't really remember a lot about this one. Maybe you guys can fill me in whenever you guys give your opinions, but I really don't remember a lot about that feud. I know they had I think a War Games match at WrestleMania, I think, but as far as stories go, I don't really recall much on those guys. Me and LJ, big. It ended up leading to all kinds of stuff. It ended up technically leading to the Hiroshi Moses killing the league. He got involved. He tricked Bomber, all that. Really complicated and in-depth story. Very good there. And JD and Scott, I think JD and Scott was really good as well, but Scott's on this category 3 times, and I think I think Lee and Scott and Redhead and Scott are right above the JD and Scott one. So like I said, all very good, stories this year. But I think I went with Scott and Redhead. I think. So what? Do you know what you went with, Beer Me?
I don't remember, but I would either go with Bomber versus LJ for the simple fact that he fired him and he wrongfully fired him, and then he came back. but the Lee and Scott thing was just done so well, and it was a blood feud, and you think your partner's dead, but he's not. He comes back and he wants to kill you, and yeah, I think I voted for that, and I think I voted for that. I would have, yeah.
That's right. That's fantastic stuff there. Like the funny thing is, we talk about how Scott's nominated for so many things. Scott got involved in so many stories this year that were really good. I mean, it's hard not to nominate him for some of this stuff. So you can't get mad at the guy if he got nominated for a lot and he put in all that work. But Woody, what are you thinking?
Let's go through these real quick. Cam and UBC. I love Cam. I love Cam Popplestone. And when this story first happened, this is when Cam returned. I think it was in War Games, and he cut like a little piece off the cage. I think it was a cage.
Yeah, it was the War. He came down through because in the JRPL our War Games had the traditional top.
Yeah,
and he came down through that originally. Yeah.
Yeah, was it UVC and someone else versus Solution? I think
it was UVC and Tino versus the Solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that. The good feud. Like, I love that feud, but compared to everything else, like it's might be the lowest one.
I think I think another thing that hurts that feud is a lot of it happened outside of this year. It just kind of culminated at this year, the blow off. But yeah, I think the feud was great. I think, but I think a lot of it happened out of 2019, so that does hurt it a lot.
I'm still really good though.
Sure, yeah.
Lee versus Scott. Spoiler alerts. Lee versus Scott. It's gonna be my vote. But
yeah.
Lee versus Scott. It's just perfect. I think everything about it was perfect. Like the Lee reveal, the motivation behind it, everything. Like the matches. And he was like the long haul too with the Midnight Rider. Like it was just great. I loved everything about it. Hero and AHMF. I mean, that was something. I remember it, but compared to everything else, it's just okay. Like it gave us the Kill the League moment, so that was something. Scott versus Redhead. Good, very good. I don't think it was good as Lee versus Scott, but I think it might be like my second favorite on the list. It's like the Legends versus Enigmas. Nothing against this feud, but I don't remember a damn thing about it.
Thank you. That's what I was saying that too.
Damn.
Do you remember? See what? I don't remember how that came up with the nomination. I think it was obviously the creative team nominated it, but I didn't remember much from this at all.
Were they trying to recruit Ash? Were the Enigmas?
You know what? You know what? I think that is it. Thank you. Now that did spark a little memory there. Yes, Ash like kind of joined the Enigmas for a split second, but he like teased it kind of, and then he formed the Legends of New School. So you know what? That must be where that's from. Still though, it's still a little bit weaker on this list, but yes, I do remember that now that you mentioned that. Yes, I do.
Okay. LJ versus Bomber. I love this feud. I loved it, but like I said, compared to the others, it just it's not good enough to get the vote. And you hit the nail with JD versus Scott. Like, good feud, but this is definitely Scott's third weakest out of the three of them.
Well, cool. So looks like, I mean, I'm still standing by the Red and Scott, but yeah, Lee and Scott, those two matches are definitely the tops. So anybody that votes for those, I completely agree. Anybody else, you're just fucking wrong. No, I'm kidding. Oh shit, who knows? I guess we'll do it real quick. Theme song of the year. We'll probably won't remember this, but Beermy, do you by chance remember what you voted for?
Oh man, I do not.
Well, okay, if you think about it for a second, try to. If not, no big deal. But I will say this: after looking at the votes, I will say I can see what's happening here. Any song that was popular back in the day, like all the old songs, I'll tell you this, are getting the votes. Songs that a lot of people never heard of, like "It's Mine" by Mystery Skulls. that like really good song. There was a lot of songs like that that are, I think, way better than others. But when people just get this drop down and they see a song they know or a band they know, like fucking Limp Bizkit, Rollin' is probably going to fucking win. Just a little heads up. That's probably going to win. And why would that win? It's funny how these songs are only the ones that are getting voted on are ones that were popular, as opposed to whether or not it was good. But yeah, I think my vote was Solo by Prismo. Prismo, I think is the name of that. What Take Over Toronto. It on the little banner cover was Warden. It was right after he turned on Solution. The song was, if you listen to the lyrics of that song, holy shit, they're so perfect for Warden and what he was like going through and all that kind of stuff. So I think that song was perfect for the theme song of that pay-per-view. But I think it's probably gonna be fucking Limp Bizkit winning. So
what song do you say that was perfect for Warden?
Solo by Prismo.
Okay.
It was Take Over Toronto. Yeah, there is for those who have not voted yet, if you just go to the homepage, there is a little thing, just a little article posted, theme song of the year. It's got links to all you gotta do is click on the banner and the song will pop up. All the theme songs are right there on that page if you have not voted yet and want to listen to them. So, Beer Me, any idea what you voted for?
Man, you know what? It could have been Rolling for all.
You son of a bitch. No, I'm kidding. There's no telling.
But looking back through it, I mean, I kind of liked Empire State of Mind from Take Over New York because it's about New York, and I think that's pretty cool.
Sure.
But yeah, I really couldn't tell you. It probably would have been Rolling.
Yeah, this is a harder one. I do understand, and there's a lot to fucking choose from, so I can't fault people for just picking some stuff. All right, Woody, do you want to say anything about these, or you want me to just move on?
I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna vote for.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna vote for in the end, JRPL All Out, because I think that song really fits.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, that was another good one. Yep. I think that's doing pretty good in the votes actually. So I don't know if it's winning or not, but I think it's got a couple at least. So that was fitting because literally we thought that was the last show. Mm-hmm. So all right. So here we go. Moving on. Upset of the year.
This is a good one.
A lot of these ones here, so I'm going to run through them real quick. All right. Award winners defeat Team No Chance for the tag team titles at Royal Rumble. Jut Jut 9 defeats the entire Blissful Enigmas faction in an Elimination Chamber match at TakeOver Phoenix. The Regulators defeat UVC at Slammiversary. The Alpha Dog defeats this guy right here, Beer Me Jesus, for the Road Warrior title at TakeOver 25. Matt Zion and Rab defeats this guy right here, Beer Me Jesus and the Warden, at Double or Nothing. Wookie defeats, I just said it for you, I gotta say it for me. This guy right here, Bomber at Extreme Rules. Hiroshin Moses defeats GMSG at WrestleMania, and XO Liquid Vamp defeats Bomber at Hell in a Cell. All right, Woody, what are you thinking here?
There's so many good ones.
Yeah, there are indeed.
But the one that I'm not going to go through all these, but the one that sticks out to me the most, Zion and Rab beating, the tag team in the JRPL.
Yeah.
That they've rarely lost. Like they have a handful of tag team losses.
Yeah. And
Matt and Rab can say that they beat that tag team. They beat them.
Yeah, I think it is safe to say I would sign off on this that the Solution is the so far at this point the greatest tag team that JRPL has had, and yeah, they got beat by Rab and Matt Zion. So I think that is pretty. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
What did you go with, Beer Me?
Well, I think the two that stick out to me are either Matt and Rab beating us or the Regulators beating UVC. Because how often does Fart Bucket really get a win?
I agree 100%, man. All of these are big upsets, obviously. Yeah, I'm on this list 3 times. That's pretty bad. So
I feel your pain.
Yeah, you're on there a couple yourself. Is that the one that you think you voted for, or?
Yeah, I voted for one of those two, I think. I think I did vote for the Regulators beating UVC, though.
Gotcha.
But if I could change it, I would totally vote for Matt and Rab, thinking about it now.
Yeah, that was. There's so many of them. I thought. Well, I mean, there are votes for a lot of these. This is another very close category, by the way. Only a couple votes separate who's going to win. I thought Liquid Vamp and Bomber would be like way out in front because everybody was giving me shit that I lost to Liquid Vamp. Rightfully so.
Oh, yeah.
Rightfully so. And see, that was a main show, which is way worse.
Mm-hmm.
I've only lost. Fuck, I have the number. It was either four. I've only lost 4 or 5 main shows this year. I don't know if you know that or not. I've only lost 4 or 5 main shows this entire 2019. And one of them was to Liquid Vamp. So that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I think I voted for shit. Maybe the award winners defeat No Chance because that was such a like fucking surprise. I think it factored in more of a surprise because Team No Chance were the tag team champions, which nobody knew was going to happen because they cashed in. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, Zion and Scott won the titles and nobody saw it coming. So I think I either voted for that one or Jut beating the entire Blissful Enigmas, which the odds of that happening in an Elimination Chamber match were super, like, not even close to happening. But he beat every single one of them. I think it was one of those two that I voted for. But all of these are big upsets. No matter who wins, no surprise there. These are all huge. So yeah, let's wait. Did you go yet, Woody?
Yes, I did.
Okay, there we go. Make sure I didn't skip you there. All right, so match of the year. This is a big one, guys. Match of the year. Scott versus Lee at SummerSlam. Finn versus Ash at Hell in a Cell. Inside Hell in a Cell. Jay Dianio versus Scott at All Out. UVC versus Ash and Banksy at TakeOver Blackpool. Bastion versus Spring Tigers versus Captain Charisma for the Top Block title at WrestleMania. JD, GMSG, Beer Me, Lee, Scott, and Luke Gray in the Money in the Bank match. And Scott versus Redhead in the Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. The Love is Hell in a Cell match. Beer Me, what are you thinking here? What'd you go with?
I'm trying to remember. I actually really liked Scott and Redhead's match a lot from Mania, the Hell in the Cell.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one a lot. Scott versus Lee, because that was obviously the big match. And I also like that triple threat with Tigress, Bastion, and Captain Charisma at Mania as well. That was really good too.
Yeah. To me, when I was thinking about it, it came down to, do I want to go with the kayfabe match of the year or the, statistical match of the year? Because statistically wise, the triple threat at WrestleMania, Bastion, Spring Tigers, and Captain Charisma, all 3 of them guys, yes, it was a top block match, so you get more points, but they all were over 100. I don't recall that like being like a thing before. It was at WrestleMania. They all performed super well. They all did a great job. So to me, it came down to that, whether I wanted to award it by, which competitors did a really good job, or kayfabe-wise, which I thought was my match of the year, which would be Scott and Redhead inside the Love is Hell in a Cell match, because they did all kinds of really creative, like the ring was taken apart and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, outside the whole time I talk about their stories outside the box, they really made it unique and made it special. So to me, personally, it came down to those two. And I think I went with, statistic-wise, I went with the triple threat over the kayfabe because that's just one or the other. And yes, Bastion's in. I know I'm going to get that. I know they're going to be like, oh, you voted for Bastion. Like, yes, he did win that. If somebody else was in that, performed that well, I'm pretty sure I would have voted for them as well. But it came down to those two, and I think I went with the triple threat. What are you thinking, Woody?
I'm not gonna go through all these, but
Sure, yeah, whatever you're thinking.
From what I going back when I said that I liked Scott versus, I said I liked Scott versus Lee better than Scott versus Redhead in the feud department, I think I'm the opposite in the match where I preferred their Love is Hell in a Cell match.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at all these, I think that's my main one because I like the story. I like the story, and I think the write up was really good, really inventive. I liked everything about it.
Yeah. And I actually I think CT Martin, when we're talking about the creative team and like how these matches were formed or how these nominations were formed. By the way, that reminds me, I know you guys had questions about stuff. If we come across those, ask away, like why wasn't something here, why was this there? But
Yep.
I actually was not even thinking about the UVC versus Ash and Banksy match. But I think CT Martin was one of the ones that really pushed that to go through because it's one of those matches that it's never been done before where the two top titles in the company were put in one match in a tag team match that's never happened.
Yeah.
And they both swapped in that match. That was pretty big. Again, for me personally, I don't think it was, match of the year, but very historic like type deal that went on there. That was really big. So kudos to the CT for bringing that up because I didn't even think when I thought about match of the years, I didn't even think about that. So, yeah. So
That's at Blackpool, wasn't it?
yeah, that was Blackpool. We're coming up on that part 2 coming up this month or next month. So, but yeah, take over Blackpool. One of the forgot about shows, I think. A lot of people, I think, forgot about that show last year, but it was pretty big. Pretty big show.
Daddy Fatsack booked me at that show.
Oh God, you want to forget about that one then? Why
Right?
wasn't that on the list of upsets? Jeez. All right, so let's go to the hardest event to predict. I'll go real quick because nominations are Hell in a Cell, Takeover Blackpool, Ring of Honor, Survivor Series, G1 Supercard, and Money in the Bank. So
Which Ring of Honor though? Like it. Wait.
the JRPL Ring of Honor is the name of the anniversary show. It's Ring of Honor's anniversary show.
Okay.
But
That's where those 3 matches got thrown out.
yeah, we just call it Ring of Honor because it would be weird for us to be like JRPL 17th anniversary show. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So we just literally name that show Ring of Honor. Hopefully that's not too confusing to people, but that's why that show's named Ring of Honor. That was very difficult show because yes, shit got thrown out. But to me, my vote went to G1 Supercard because I don't know shit about New Japan. I don't know. I know like 3 guys. I know Okada. I know Tanahashi, and maybe like one other dude. And there were so many of those guys intertwined in there. Yes, I know Will Ospreay too, but I had no idea who to pick for the G1 Supercard. So me personally, everybody gets to vote on what, personally was their hardest event to predict, but I had no clue what to pick for that G1 Supercard show. So me, that's what I went with. But there was a lot of hard shows this year. Beer me, what to you was the hardest show to predict?
I picked, even though there was only like 4 matches on the card, I picked Hell in a Cell because I didn't guess a single one right. And
super hard.
I mean, it was just nuts. Like that was mine because I didn't know a damn thing apparently about that.
No, I was in the same. Hey, I lost to Exo Liquid Vamp that show, so obviously I didn't know shit either. I didn't know what was going on, and I kind of was in the same boat for Blackpool. Like I didn't know a lot of the Takeover UK guys, and women. When I was voting for that, kind of like the G1 Supercard, I didn't know a lot of those people, but it was much easier to research because I went back and I watched all the Takeover Blackpool stuff. I can't necessarily just jump back and watch all the New Japan stuff to see who all these guys are. It's much harder. So I can see that being a hard one as well. What are you thinking, Woody? I know a lot of people said Survivor Series was difficult too.
Well, so for Survivor Series, like on paper, like yeah, it looked hard. But compared to everything else, like it was a cakewalk, like to G1, Hell in a Cell. But from what you said, I agree with everything you said about G1 Supercard because I knew shit. I didn't know anyone.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know shit either. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
At least with all the others, I had like an inkling of like who people were and everything. So yeah, that easily gets my vote.
Okay. All right. Well, house show of the year. There's only 4 of these, so first one, Ring of Honor. Second one is Bound for Glory, Best in the World, and Full Gear. There weren't a whole lot of happenings this year at house shows. Previous years we've had really big moments or stuff like that, or big matches. But these, nothing really stood out huge this year. Just 4 shows nominated. Woody, do you have anything that jumps out at you right off the top of your head here with these 4?
I don't even remember most of these matches for these shows.
Let me Beer Me, do you remember? I'll load up some of the results as you're thinking. Beer Me, do you remember stuff?
I remember I took Luke's house show streak at Full Gear, but I don't know. I don't really remember a whole lot about the shows. I think I voted for Bound for Glory though, just because it was watching it was my favorite show, but
sure,
kayfabe wise, I really didn't. Yeah, because house shows really aren't that. Usually, a lot of stuff doesn't really go on there, so it was tough for me to really pick one.
Yeah, no, that's 100% understandable. So I got the 4 shows right here real quick. I'm not going through the whole card, just a couple things that stand out. The main event for Bound for Glory was Beer Me versus Scott in the 2 out of 3 falls submission match for the Canadian title. GMSG won the title for, I think, the 3rd time against Wookiee. And then there wasn't a whole lot after that. Woody, you fought Hawk and lost. Nathan beat Midnight Rider. JD beat Red. There you go. So not a whole lot went down there, but that's what happened at Bound for Glory. Ring of Honor, I think, was a really big show. That was my vote. I'll just throw that out there. That was my vote because this is where the wedding proposal happened, which was a really big moment of the year. I've voted for this. The main event, though, I don't know if you guys want to vote for this. Team No Chance defeated The Solution. Woody Warden and Beer Me Jesus took a loss to Vitamin, JD, and Lily.
That was squash.
It was 68-41.
It was bad.
Yeah, but again, that show, multiple matches got thrown out, so that was a hard show to predict and stuff. That Blissful Enigmas beat match of the night. Cade Gailey won. Not much else. Drifters beat Awesome Hooded Motherfuckers. I lost to 3J Platinum. I think that was I was in a streak losing to him at house shows. Best.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, best in the world. Man, not much really happened here that I recall. I beat Hawk in the main event. Tigers won the Road Warrior title from Scott, which was pretty big. That was her first singles win. Beer Me and Warden killed the league here. What did you do, Woody? Woody, you beat Junction in a submission match. Yeah, not much happened at Best in the World. And Full Gear, Simple Creatures beat Team No Chance 3-on-3 in the main event. GMSG defended against Crimson Cyborg. Beer Me, that's where you beat Luke and ended his streak. Woody, what did you do for this show? Where are you at? Oh, you beat Fart Bucket here by 30 points. So there you go. But yeah, that's a little quick rundown of what happened on these shows. Woody, does that help you out?
Yeah. Ring of Honor had a big main event. It had the proposal. It had a lot of big things. So Ring of Honor.
Yeah, kind of as I read through that kind of really makes that stand out over the other ones actually. But there you go. So that was that. Here we go. Event of the year. This is overall main show, biggest show of the year. Or I guess it could be regular shows. I don't know. Anyway, here we go. Crown Jewel, All Out, SummerSlam, Extreme Rules, WrestleMania, TLC, and TakeOver Phoenix. I'll go first. I voted for WrestleMania because even though personally, Extreme Rules to me was my favorite of. I've told the creative team this before. I haven't really told this to everybody else, but Extreme Rules was my favorite show ever in JRPL as far as me doing the write-up. Me coming up with the stories, filling in stuff for everybody. That of overall, since the beginning of time in JRPL, that has been my favorite write-up ever, is the Extreme Rules. Just all the little tiny things that happen and throughout the whole night. But that's just, that's me being, particular. WrestleMania was a much bigger show than Extreme Rules was. So I definitely couldn't vote for that over WrestleMania, even if I liked the write-up better. WrestleMania had so many big matches. It had the Royal Rumble winner winning the title finally. Tino won the title for the second time there. It had obviously the Love is Hell in a Cell. It had so many things going for it. It had what I voted for match of the year there. It had the culmination of all these different things. The Hero, Shin Moses, and GMSG. It had the Bomber and LJ. It had all these kind of things. The Bomber and Camp Hopplestone climax.
Warden had that King of the Road match there, didn't he?
That's where Warden fell into the coma at WrestleMania. Yep. It's just, to me, this year WrestleMania, all the main card stuff was pretty memorable. I think this, as far as memorable wise and match wise, I think this has been our best WrestleMania yet, which I hope as we go, each one's better than the last, but I think this was our best WrestleMania yet, and I think it was also match of the year, or show of the year. Even though a lot of good stuff happened in other shows, I think top to bottom, WrestleMania for me was match or show of the year. What about you, Beery?
I actually, I know it's going to sound crazy. I picked All Out because I thought it was going to be our last show. And everybody just went all out for it. You had people come back. You had you had the world title on the line at a house show. Like, when does that ever happen?
True. That is the only time ever that, because technically the All Out show was not a house show because it was such a big house show, which I do agree. All Out is probably, to me, second on this list. It was very, very big. Very good show. I definitely agree. Very good show there. And the world title being defended, and it turned into a main show. That's never happened ever.
Yeah, I always thought, if down the road, if I remember, I'm always going to remember that pay-per-view because I was always thinking, well, this is it. This is the end. And
yeah,
I don't know. It was more memorable to me, so that's why I picked that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. That's a good pick. What about you, Woody?
I'm actually gonna go the same. JRPL All Out. Because everything he said, it felt like the end, and it felt like a lot of people, because they felt like it was the end. They were trying to craft the perfect end for their character arc, and they were putting their final match. It was looking at the card, it was just really good. Really good.
Yep. We had the Beer Me versus Warden there. That I feel bad personally because I forced that to happen too early, because that, guys, to me, that was prime for match of the year. That was prime for match of the year. That would have
been a Mania moment.
It would be.
That would have been a Mania match.
It would be, and I feel a little bad because it was my fault that it was rushed for that. But I do agree. Huge show. All Out. Huge show. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that I completely understand going with that one. All right. So
but you're right with WrestleMania though. I mean, it had it just had like you said, all those moments too. So yeah, those probably would have been my top two.
Yep. All right, guys, here we go. Moving on to the Superstar Awards. We're going to go to Stable of the Year. We got The Solution, Blissful Enigmas, Team No Chance, The Ultraviolent Connection, Awesome Hooded Motherfuckers, and Legends of New School. Beer Me, what are you thinking here? What'd you go with?
Well, unfortunately, I did not pick my stable, so I don't think we're going to win it for a third year in a row. But
that's a good point to point out. Yes, 2 years in a row. Solution is won. This could be the third year.
But to me, I think it came down to either Team No Chance, UVC, or Legends New School, because they busted on the scene and they were amazing. I went with Team No Chance because JD won the world title. He won Money in the Bank and successfully cashed in. The Lily Pilly and Buck N5, they successfully cashed in. And yeah, they had a big year. Vitamin was Canadian champs, so everybody there held gold too. So I mean, yeah, I went with them, but it was close. It was either going to be them or the UVC for me because of how dominant you were as champion, and Bastion was the top lock champion for like ever. But I feel like Jut didn't do a whole lot like you guys did, so I went with Team Nut.
Okay. Well, first of all, how dare you, sir? Jut was the world champion. Oh my God, he walked into WrestleMania the world champ. Oh my God. Anyway,
but he didn't win it.
Not at WrestleMania. No, he definitely had. I thought a very good. I think he did have a very good world title run. I mean, he beat all the Blissful Enigmas, and that was defending his title.
That was dope. Yeah, that was a good moment.
But anyway, this is as far as my vote went, it went for the UVC, and I know you might say, "Oh my God, of course he picked a UVC. It's him. It's his own
What
stable."
a homer.
Yeah, what a biased pick here this guy's doing. But I stand by this, and I will fight anyone, anywhere that we had the greatest run this year of any of these other stables here. There's no way that anybody, you two or anybody else, can convince me otherwise that the UVC did not have the best run this year. We dominated from very beginning of the year, very first show, all the way till we did fall off. I will say that 100%. We fell off in September. We did. We fell off in September, and I picked it up pretty good, strong at the end. Bastion and Jut didn't pick it up as much as I did, but they finished okay. I finished strong. They did not quite, but still, overall, when you take 12 months of the year and we dominate 8 of the 12 months, I don't see any way, shape, or form another group who didn't do it as long as we did win the stable of the year. And yes, I know, and everybody's entitled to vote for they won for, or vote for what they choose. But I'm just going to have to say you are wrong on this one, sir or ma'am. You are wrong. But that I voted for, yes, I voted for UVC. But Woody, what are you thinking? Are you going for Solution for 3 in a row?
Well, Solution, you had myself and Boss with tag titles. Barry won the world title.
He did. But are you guys still a group, though? I feel like you guys aren't even a group still. So I don't know if that counts.
In the heart. That's all that matters. In the heart.
Okay. I mean, true. If you want, I mean, you could totally vote for it if you want. There's nobody stopping you.
No, I'm not going to vote for it. Like, I don't even think we should be on the list, to be honest. But
right. I feel like there would be one vote at the end of all the tallies, and it would have been your.
I think Solutions. I think you guys should be nominated. I definitely think you should be nominated. I don't know about winning, but I think you guys should be up there. I think you deserve to be up there.
I guess so.
Yeah.
No, where Barry was right about no chance. Like, them winning Money in the Bank, them cashing in, holding up belts. But at the same time, this is kind of like where I fall off on it. They won Money in the Bank, they cashed it in, but the tag belts, like they didn't hold tag belts long at all. I don't think. Like they lost them pretty quick.
They lost them the next night, I think. They lost them.
Yeah.
But they did win them back. I believe they've won them twice. But yes, both times were not very long if you're going by length of the reign.
And JD, he didn't hold on. Like he won the world title, but he didn't hold on to it very long.
Yeah, he defended against Scott at All Out, and then he lost it at Crown Jewel to Finn. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Those are all big moments. But comparing it to the UVC's dominant run of, what was it, 6 months?
Well, give or take, Bastion lost his 7 months in. I lost mine 8 months in, and he was still, But either way, the way I say it, the first 3 months of the year, like each show ended with us doing the the fist bump with all of us holding our singles titles. And some people like I've had people kind of talk about stuff by saying, "Oh, UVC did more stuff that was, everybody was, being singles guys because we had singles gold, not tag gold." I was like, "Yeah, but motherfucker, we were always a unit. We always had each other back." So I'm talking to you, Redhead 12. Redhead 12 is the one that keeps calling me out on that, by the way. But
And you guys did all have gold. I mean, it's,
yeah, at the same, like I said, each show closed with us doing like the Shield fist bump, but all of us holding all 3 of our singles titles. So, but
I think Legends and New School need a little bit of love too, because
100%.
they came onto the scene and just killed it, like literally killed it. But Hawk winning the Tournament of Death or tying the Tournament of Death and then winning it.
Yeah, see, Legends of New School to me is a second place because they did what UVC did, but just not as long. Like they dominated. But again, if you want to look at like what Woody said with like Buck N5 and them, they didn't hold the titles very long. Like Kier 1 and Lucha Warrior, they didn't hold the titles very long. Ash didn't do much with his title reign. Hawk was champion for a while, but like lost every match except for his title runs, which is good. He still did great. But they did what UVC did. They were dominant like UVC, but in my eyes, well, they just weren't as long.
Yeah.
I will say what I like about the Legends is like one little thing is that Jason and Hawk they made the finals of the TOD. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was super cool. That was
dope.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah, no, they really. I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying the other stables did bad by saying UVC did better. By the way, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Legends of New School did. They ended the year. Well, they did like middle to near the end of the year. Very, very, very good stuff. I'm not trying to take anything away from them at all. I understand if you want to vote for them, like anybody that does vote for them, understand that. But yeah, I just don't want anybody to think that I'm shitting on those guys because they did very good stuff. And we didn't really talk about Awesome Hood motherfuckers, but they were just, they were I think, Beerman, I think you said it earlier, like at the beginning of the show, they are like the number one face tag team in the JRPL. They've been consistent about that. They've every year. And so,
I mean, they all held gold too.
That's yes, they did. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are correct. A lot of gold for all of these teams here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of gold for all these teams here. But, yeah, I just don't think they jump out as much as the others, but they still consistent and they're still good. But
yeah.
So what did you decide you're going to go with, Woody? What are you voting on before we move on?
I think the UVC is my vote.
All right. Okay. Well, let's move on to Comeback Kid of the Year. Matt Zion, Wookie, Daddy Fat Sack, the Lucha Warrior, Super Hippo, and the Finn. I will go first here. Holy shit, did I vote for... I think I voted for Super Hippo. Mainly...
That's what's up.
I'm trying to think if that's who I voted for.
I think I know who I voted for.
All right, well, you go first then. You go first.
I voted for Wookie, actually. Because he won the Road Warrior title, and he's been killing it as of late. He had that big heel turn and all of that. I think I voted for him. It was either him or the Finn, one of those two, because Finn won the title. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I voted for Wookie. Yeah,
Wookie had a pretty good comeback story because Wookie has, Wookie's an original. He's been around forever. He hasn't really had that big, limelight, but he definitely, came back and he really did have a resurgence. So I can definitely see that. I did check it out. I did vote for Super Hippo. I think the reason behind my voting for Super Hippo is because 2017 Superstar of the Year. Fantastic. It wasn't even close. He ran away with Superstar of the Year. Last year, holy shit. Talk about a bad year. Super Hippo had a horrible year last year. I went back and I looked over his profile. He hasn't won any titles. He hasn't, done anything that really, he hasn't main evented a lot of stuff, or I don't know if he's main evented anything, but if you go back and look, his record this year is way better. So I think I went again statistic wise, as far as kayfabe goes. And I went with somebody who, were super strong. They struggled mightily, and then he came back and had a really solid year, even though he didn't have many like accomplishments or anything this year. So I think that was my reasoning behind Super Hippo. But there's a lot of other people that are worthy of this award too. What are you thinking, Woody?
Okay, so I'm thinking about last year's awards.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Zion I'm pretty sure, was he the Jobber of the Year
Yep.
last year?
Yes, he was Jobber of the Year.
That's kind of gonna go to my voting. I think Zion as the comeback kid, he's done a lot more memorable things this year. He beat him and was it him and Rab beat Solution at double or nothing?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He did that. He won the belts with Scott. And
Yeah. At the Royal Rumble, I think. Yeah.
yeah. So just
Insane.
those two, like he's definitely, come back from last year as the jobber to this. What he's done this year.
Definitely can agree. Definitely.
Yeah, so Zion's got my vote.
Okay, I can't argue that at all. The only reason I didn't, no doubt, Finn did amazing this year. He's up for Superstar of the Year. He did great this year, but I don't think he really had a really bad run. That's why I didn't vote for Finn, because I don't think he really had to come back from anything. He's always been like, kind of good, and then he just like exploded and did very good. So that's why I didn't vote for him, even though out of everybody on this list, he's had the best year by far. Lucha Warrior, just because I want to throw some names out there because we haven't talked about him. Lucha Warrior, he started out very bad, he struggled very hard this year, and he won a tag team title. He ended relatively good. Daddy Fat Sack, I don't remember why he got added to this list, but you gotta love him with the name. I think he struggled mightily too, mainly because he was in a tag team with Dave Smell My Fart, but then he broke away and then he started doing better, so that's good there. But yeah, I think Matt Zion, Wookie, and Super Hippo would be my top three, I think. So I think we're all in that frame, the voting range there, so it's good. Let's move on to Rookie of the Year. We got Cassius, Kier 1, the Lucha Warrior, Gotenaku, and Hawk. Woody, what are you feeling here? Oh, Woody's gone. Beer Me, what are you feeling here?
I picked Hawk because he won winning the Tournament of Death and holding on to the Road Warrior title, or not Road Warrior title, UV title.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of the other people on the list really didn't hold belts or anything, so I feel like he did the most. So I picked him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. I went with Hawk. Oh, hold on. Woody's okay. He says he'll be back in a sec. He messaged me. Yeah, Hawk has had a great year for anybody, not just the fact that he is a rookie. I think he should walk away with this category. Kier 1, Lucha Warrior, who were in his stable, they won the tag team titles, but still not nearly as impressive of a year as Hawk has had. Gotenaku, 3J's brother, he's done a very good job. But still, he hasn't really accomplished a whole lot as far as title-wise or, accolades or anything. And Cassius, he's a little too inconsistent as far as when he shows up. Now, if he would show up more and would produce more, then maybe I could see him, getting higher in these rankings. But to me, this is the easiest vote of the whole Jobbies to me. I think Hawk definitely gets it here. Let's see if Woody's back. Woody, are you back?
Yes.
There he is. Okay, perfect. Who are you thinking for Rookie of the Year?
Let me go look at my internet thing, quick. I think it's Hawk. I think out of all of them, I think Hawk's done a lot this year, like a lot. Finals and TOD and all that. Part of the dominant faction of Legends. But yeah. think it's easily him.
Yeah, I think we're definitely all in agreement on that one. That's for sure. So the unfortunate award here, Jobber of the Year. We got Fart Bucket, Exo Kev, Liquid Vamp, Dave Smell My Fart, and CJ Blackthorn. Beer me. Who you got here?
Man,
Who's the worst of the worst? Don't feel bad. When I'm bad, I admit it. So hopefully it's okay to admit when other people do bad.
I mean, doesn't it? I feel like it kind of has to be Fart Bucket, or yeah, it has to be Fart Bucket. It just makes sense. It makes so much sense. Like I said, I don't even know how many wins he's had this year. I think he's only like beat like you guys and maybe like one or two more people. I mean,
The Enigmas.
Yeah, the Enigmas.
That's true.
But,
he's got a couple, but yeah, not many.
Yeah, and he shows up to every show, so I gotta give it to him.
All right, yeah. What about you, Woody?
Yeah. I mean, well, it's Kev. Is he the one that only does AEW shows now?
No, that would be that guy Jack. Kev only does WWE shows. He doesn't do NXT or other house shows. He only does WWE. That guy Jack only does AEW.
Probably Fart Bucket, because I know Fart Bucket has some wins, but at least I'm more familiar about like what Liquid Vamp's done. Dave Smell My Fart. I mean, he beat Beermy. Was it Dave Smell My Fart that beat Beermy?
No, Daddy
Daddy.
Fatsack.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't
his
know
old
what Dave's
partner.
done.
One of the big guys beat me.
Yeah, it was Daddy. Daddy beat you.
It probably beat Fart Bucket. I think he's the definition of the jobber.
I will say, okay, I can agree with that. He is probably going to win. But let me tell you this. Let me just break this little fact on you. He should not win this award. Not only, hey, I love the fact that he's terrible just as much as everybody else, but there's somebody here who hands down should win this award, but they're not going to based off of nobody knows what's been going on. Dave Smells My Fart has not won this year. He is 0-1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I gotta change my vote.
10 plus matches this year. He has not won a match. He should win.
Wow.
I know he's not going to. Because Fart Bucket is more, he's popular. He's over, and he is terrible. No doubt about it. Fart Bucket sucks. He'll be the first to tell you. But Dave Smell My Fart has not won this year, and he's had over 10 matches.
I did not know that.
I think a lot of people aren't going to know that, so hopefully they listen to this maybe and they can vote for the right person. But I think everybody will be happy if Fart Bucket wins. I know I would be, but I definitely voted for Dave Smell My Fart because of that, because he's winless this year. But yeah, him and Fart Bucket are the top two. CJ Blackthorn, we haven't mentioned him, but he's kind of unfortunately been that, one of the bottom guys, one of the gatekeepers, I guess. So many of the new people usually face him coming in. He struggles a lot, but man, Dave Smell My Fart should win this category, even though I don't think he will. But it's okay. That's what happens though when you're down in the bottom and you're never winning, nobody pays attention to you. Sometimes
It's true.
you miss out on that. So he's like the jobber of the job. He's going to job to the jobber of the year, basically. But anyway, so let's move it on. 2 more awards here, and then we're done. Tag Team of the Year, The Drifters, Boss Solution, Awesome Hooded Motherfuckers. This is Spring Tigerson Green Machine. Team No Chance, and The Simple Creatures. I guess I will go first. This year, this is the first year that, Warden and Beer Me Jesus are not up for the award. In the first year, they're not going to win it because they won the first 2. Tag team division has been really not as strong this year, but I still am not, I still don't hate it. I think I went with the Drifters. I think it's more of the oddball team that you don't really think about enough because they mainly did a lot. They started out like 7-0. The Drifters did really good shit earlier this year, and I think a lot of people forgot about them because they haven't teamed since like July, I think, or something like that. But the first half of the year, those guys were like, they kind of took the Solution spot as the top tag team. They won the Tag Team Classic this year. They went on to defend their titles. They were one of the stronger teams. I think the top two for me is Drifters and Team No Chance, with Boss Solution being close as a close third. But that's what I went with. So what were you thinking, Beer Me, when you went in and voted here?
Man, the tag division is yeah, it's something.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I think I couldn't really remember a lot of what happened this year for the tag division, so I did more of like a what have you done for me lately kind of thing and voted for the Simple Creatures.
Sure.
Because they won the titles, and I think they just defended them, didn't they, in the that three-way tables match, I think?
At TLC, yes, they did defend them at TLC. They defended them against Reaction and L&D, which is the Cure One and Lucha Warrior, former tag champs. Yep.
Yeah, but if I could recast my vote, I might have done it for the Drifters, because I totally forgot about them winning the Tag Team Classic.
Yeah. And I will say, I kind of hit on this earlier on Discord all the time. I talk about how when you think of these awards, like end of year awards, a lot of people forget about stuff that happens early in the year, which kind of it hurts you to. It's weird. It hurts you to be successful early, which I think is what's hurting, the Drifters or like the UVC and other people like that, like Tino and stuff like that, who really did good early but then struggle later. It does suck, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think it's a fact of, kind of like what you said, what have you done for me lately? And some people, that's their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think Simple Creatures by far is the best tag team right now. 100%. I agree with that right now. They're the best tag team in the division. Obviously, they're the champs, but they are the unbeatable champs right now. But Woody, what are you thinking of voting for? Are you going to vote for yourself here? How did you and Boss do?
I don't think me and Boss have teamed enough to win this award. Like we've teamed, but I don't think we've teamed enough like any of the other teams.
You won the titles?
Yeah, we did. We won them at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's when Boss joined the Solution.
Yeah. But compared to like the team I'm voting for, I'm gonna vote for Team No Chance. Okay. Like Team No Chance, they won tag team Money in the Bank. That was a big moment. They cashed them in an elimination chamber, big moment. And then they lost them, but then they won them back in a ladder match. So,
yeah, it is. I agree. It's hard to argue 2-time champs in 1 year. It's pretty tough pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like when I think of tag teams this year, like they've had a lot of big moments. They're 2-time tag team champs. I'm gonna go with No Chance.
Okay. All right. So that means we're down to the final award here, the big one, Superstar of the Year. The nominees are GMSG, Tino, Jonathan C.T. Martin, The Finn, Bastion, and Beer Me Jesus. So, I will address this before we get into it. I think the other name that some people were probably thinking about would be on this list would be Jay Dianio, or JD.
Yeah.
I
was thinking that.
Yeah, he was originally on this list. So here's a little bit of behind the scenes stuff here on the voting or the nominations talk. When we originally made this list, it was the very first draft that came out was GMSG, Tino, JD, The Finn, and Bastion. That was the list. Those 5 names. And we put a couple names like on the bubble. One was Jonathan C.T. Martin. Bomber was one. Beer Me Jesus was one. So those were the 3 names on the bubble. What happened was we said, hey, if Beer Me Jesus has done a very good job this year, if he ends up winning the world title to close out the year, I think that's enough to bump him up into the list of Superstar of the Year. And also what happened was C.T. Martin defended his title yet again, who won his title in July. So he's been the champion now for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he's been the champion for 5 months now, which is a, good accomplishment. So he made the list. JD, after evaluating, I think a couple people went back and we were looking at his record. He lost a lot this year. He had a very, very bad patch. And even when he won his title, it was very short-lived. And though he did win the world title, the committee did a vote on whether or not he should stay or go from the list here. And he was voted out. Oh,
damn.
Yeah, so he was, I think the thing that hurt him the most was he did win Money in the Bank, big accomplishment. He won the world title, huge accomplishment. But other than that, I think what hurt him this year was he lost a lot. Like, out of everybody on this list, he probably lost more than everybody else on this list. So I think that's what really hurt him and got him bumped off, for those wondering where his name was. It came up to a vote and he was dropped off. So having said that, I just wanted to get that out there so people know where he was, because there was a talk about that. I voted. Fuck, who'd I vote for? Hold on. I better voted for Bastion. Come on now, baby. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. I voted for Bastion. I would have voted for myself, but I didn't make the cut because, come on, I lost 5. When you look at wins and losses, statistically, I lost 4 or 5 main show matches this year. That's pretty fucking good. But I didn't make the cut. So I went with the guy that held his title longer, besides me, had the second longest title run this year, which was Bastion, who won it in January. Oh, wait a minute. He lost it for a hot second. So he's a 2-time top block champion. He lost it for a quick cup of tea and then won it back a second time. So to me, this is my little rant here for why I voted for Bastion. Bastion held the top block title for the most part of 7 straight months. Yes, there was a little bit of controversy with a statistical error, and he, got Camp Popplestone got the rematch right away, and then he was defeated. So I can see how that could be talked about as far as if you want to go that route. But to me, nobody was better this year than Bastion, who I voted for match of the year as well at WrestleMania. And I don't know. Nobody really stood out this year as opposed to previous years for Superstar of the Year. So I can see anybody taking this category. So I went with Bastion. And I could see the argument for somebody saying the Finn should be over Bastion. And I can see Tino over Bastion. But I think Bastion could easily get it over both of those as well. So that's my long-winded explanation of why I voted for Bastion. Beer me, who did you vote for?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I was being a homer and voted for myself.
That's fine.
But you can make a case for anybody on the list. I mean, like I said, GMSG, I think he has they're the most wins, or up there for most wins of the year. Tino won Rumble and then main event in Mania and won the title. The Finn won the world title twice. I mean, CT, he's held the top block title now, like you said, for 5 months. And he was a tag champ coming into this year. So, I mean, there's that. Bastion held the title forever. I just went with myself because, I was being a homer, and I felt like I had the feel-good moment of the year. I had that rough patch where I lost 5 in a row, but other than that, I did work throughout the year. So,
I think the reason you were on the fringe initially, along with me and CT Martin, was because of that patch that you went through, which was kind of like JD's patch, but not as bad. JD's patch was a lot worse than yours was.
Yeah.
Hell, what would you quit the league twice or something like like that?
Fake me came back.
Yeah, that was, by the way, a funny moment. It's fun how we can create and spin stuff, fun moments like a fake Beer Me Jesus coming out of moments like that, which is it makes stuff memorable. But yeah. So like I said, that win for you at the end of the year is what definitely jumped you onto this list for sure, and very well deserved. You started out really strong. You did have a slump, and you finished obviously as strong as you can get. So I don't think there's anything wrong at all for voting for yourself. What about you, Woody? Who are you thinking about?
There's so many good names on this list. Tino. Like you said, he won the Rumble, main evented Mania. He won the title. CT. He was doing weird stuff with the Enigmas where people are attacking him. Do we know who's attacking him yet, or is that not?
We do not know at this moment. No, we don't know who's doing what. No.
Yeah, he's doing all that mystery people shit, and he's holding the belt. Finn, two-time champion, and then he has a hammer, so that's something. Bastion, I love Bastion. He held the belt for a long time, two-time champion this year. Bear me fucking Jesus. He won the belt. He won the world title. Feel good moment of the year. Won a lot of matches this year. It's tough. Mm-hmm. But I think overall, Bastion had a better year. Like with his belt, two-time champion. A lot of like big story stuff with him too. Like that's what I'm also looking for Superstar of the Year, like storyline wise stuff and whatnot.
I was waiting until you were done because I don't want to make it feel like I'm trying to sway your vote or anything. So I want to wait till you're done to bring something up with Bastion. He also tied Super Hippo with his 2 title runs that he did. One of those title runs, the long one, he defended his title 6 times in a row, which tied Super Hippo's incredible top block run in 2017. So he was 1 win away from beating that record, but he did tie it and lost it at SummerSlam to CT.
CT's got to be getting close to that record, right?
CT is got to be getting close to that record. Yeah, he's not quite. He's up to, I think 4. I haven't like looked every match. I think he's at 4 right now, so he's like 2 away, 2 defenses away. But I remember Bastion. I almost had him defending his title each month or each show. I was going to give him a show off until that Cam Popplestone shit happened. And then I was like, oh, well, fuck. So I gave him a match right away. And he had 2 matches on that show. He had to defend his title. Did he defend it twice in one night? Or was it was something weird. I don't remember. Where the fuck did it happen? It was, fuck me. I wish I could remember everything about everything, but, he had 2 matches in one night, and he ended up winning both of them. One of them being a title match, the other one being like an Iron Man match or some shit. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he have to face Tino?
Tino, yes. It was the top block versus the world champion. And he wasn't scheduled to defend his title, but since the mishap happened, he had to defend his title as well. So he beat Tino, who was the world champion, and then he also defended against somebody. Or Cam. He defended against Cam. But I didn't want to try. I wanted to bring that stuff up before or after you said your thing, so I don't want to sway anybody. But I think we should point out that everybody on this list, all 6 guys, had a fantastic year. GMSG, I think when you add in the house shows and main shows, I think he probably did have the most wins this year.
Yeah, I think he did. The
thing that hurts him, I think, is really lack of stories. Yeah. He really only had stuff with Hito, and that was pretty much it. But he had another fantastic year because he's the defending Superstar of the Year. He won last year. Tino winning the Royal Rumble is like a super, great thing. It's all, to me, I think it's just as important as winning the world title as far as accomplishments go. But everybody on this list is very even. This is the previous years. They've been kind of runaway votes. This year, I can see an argument for every single person. I can see an argument for GMSG or Beer Me Jesus or Finn. I can see it for anybody. So it's going to be really interesting to see who wins this category this year.
This might be the toughest category to predict.
I think so. I think so. I'm not going to give anything away, but I'll tell you guys this, that it's not that close in the voting, which I'm surprised about. There is one person. Wow. There's one person on here that is kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily running away with it, but they have a pretty comfortable lead. So, which is surprising because literally, like I just said, I can see anybody having this category. So, but we'll see what happens. We will see what happens.
Submit.
Oh, you're hitting the submit button. Okay. Well, Woody's picks are officially in. So overall, do you guys have any other questions or maybe highlights or anything that sticks out about the Jobbies this year as maybe opposed to last year or the year before?
Yeah, it is for me.
It's what?
Tougher.
It's a lot harder to pick.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can make a case for a lot. Like, every category is just stacked, pretty much. Except for, like, Rookie of the Year. I think Hawk takes that, but...
Yeah. I will tell you this. Again, not going to give any numbers away, but let's just say that Hawk does have a comfortable lead right now. rightfully so. 100% rightfully so. But I don't think there's any worry that he should have in that category right now. Wait till you see the numbers on that. Wait till you see the numbers. It's pretty comfortable. We'll say that. But like a lot of the other ones, oh my God, there's probably 3 categories that have big leaders, but the other ones super, super close. Right now, as it stands of us recording this right now, I think the closest category is, I'm looking at the numbers. Oh, wow. Stable of the Year. And
really?
Followed by Tag Team of the Year. Stable of the Year.
Oh, wow.
This is going to be hard for you to believe. Stable of the Year. There's 6 stables. 4 of them are tie right now. As in the lead.
What?
In the lead. 4 stables are, I'm not going to say who. 4 stables are tie, as of this recording, 4 stables are tied with the lead. So
You just blew my mind.
I know. Tag Team of the Year, 3 teams are tied. So this is how close this year is going to be. It is going to be a nail biter. And right now, with Woody submitting his picks, we're going to have 27 people that submitted their picks. There's still a lot of people that have to vote. So obviously this could change a little bit. But as right of this recording right now, it's super tight. A lot of these categories. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting to see what happens. I think as far as things that stick out to me is, I mean, I guess it's something along the same lines as nobody really had that dominant year this year as opposed to the previous years. Last year, runaway stuff as far as the top guy, GMSG really did have a way better year than anybody else statistically. And before that, it was Super Hippo. That's not really the case.
Yeah.
That's not the case this year. So, and yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more besides I'm excited to see who wins. I will say this, it's gonna blow some minds when you see who does win some of these categories, because there's some of them, some of the categories you'll be like, oh well, this person's got to at least be 1 or 2 or 3. They're not even in the top 3 being voted on right now on some of these big categories. I'm telling you, you're going to be surprised when these come out. So people are out there letting their voices be heard. That's for sure. So
It's been a wild ride this year.
it has. It has been a wild ride. And I will say I am very sorry for my end of making it stupid as far as my craziness earlier this year. I think 2020 is like I posted on the chat before in the Discord that I think 2020 is going to be the JRPL's biggest year yet. I'm going to actually, now that I got a job and everything's going better for me, I am going to make sure I go in and do some actual advertising. I'm going to get more eyes on the JRPL, on just Job Radio in general. We're going to try to really get up to that, 70, 80 mark. I'm hoping that's what I'm aiming for as far as competitors go.
Oh, damn.
And yeah, we took that dip, which I expected us to take a dip when I was about to step away and everybody thought All Out was going to be the end. I expected there to be a dip, and there was. We've definitely had a dip. We're not as high in the numbers because before we were hitting high 60s. Now we're hitting low 50s, which isn't a lot, but it's still a dip.
Yeah.
But I think 2020 we're gonna peak back up. I promise you, we're gonna get at least back to where we were, if not higher. We're definitely gonna get back up there. And I'm gonna make sure on my end at least 2020 is gonna be the best year for the JRPL. On my end. Now, if you guys, out there listening, you guys got to pull your part too. Let's come up with some fun stories and stuff. But that's what I've been telling the creative team. I told them, I said, hey, I want to focus more on giving people that, for example, guys like Cade Gailey and Gotanaku and stuff like that, people that don't really have a story or stuff going on. Let's give them something. Let's get stuff going. Like I have a crazy idea for a story for Broken Nerd that's going to happen this year. That I've already talked to Broken Nerd. He's on board. It's crazy. It's outside the box. It's like the wedding proposal crazy. And I just have a lot of I want a lot more stories to come out of 2020 than we've had before. So that's what I'm trying to push the creative team to come up with. More story ideas, more stuff that doesn't involve the main crew, like me, like Woody, like us three, we're always kind of involved in big stuff. I want to get a lot of other people involved too. So that's my emphasis on this year moving forward. But yeah, so that was my little, what I want to see in 2020 kind of deal. So what are do you guys have any overall thoughts on this past year or what you want to see next year?
I'd like to see myself be champion the whole year. That would be pretty dope.
Oh my God, that's impossible.
I mean, never say never, but yeah,
that's true.
Probably impossible.
But hey, if you do, then you should have 2020 Superstar of the Year on lock. So not even a question. We won't even, if you hold it all year, I'll tell you what, I'll veto everything right now. I won't even nominate anybody else. I'll just put Beer Me Jesus by himself up there in the Superstar of the Year category.
You got a deal.
Yep, I promise. I promise you. So, there was a couple things, I guess, Woody, that we mentioned at the beginning, as far as 2020 goes, booking shows and everything. I almost did a dirt sheet video for the Patreon page for this, but I've been moving. Things have been pretty crazy. If you can see behind me, there's just boxes behind me still. Bottom line is, one thing that the creative team has been debating about, I should say, is the amount of shows that we're going to cover this year, because there are people that want to do the NWA pay-per-views. There are people that want to do the New Japan shows. And there's arguments for wanting to do those shows. And there's also arguments about, I don't want to do Ring of Honor anymore. I don't want to do Impact anymore. So there's an ongoing battle that's going on behind the scenes right now with the creative team as far as what shows we are and aren't going to cover. For example, Hard to Kill that's coming up this year was not going to be covered. I had to fight tooth and nail. I had to fight for that show to be covered by the JRPL because some members of the creative team did not want to do that show. And I didn't understand why, because obviously I'm not in charge anymore. I just give my input. So I fought for my input. I'm like, guys, please, let's do this. There's no reason not to. We've done all the Impact shows. This is because it does take place on the same day as TakeOver Blackpool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And the argument was against it was, hey, we already have that show. We're not going to do the other show. But my argument back was, I've done shows before, same night, and then the very next night another show, all by myself, where I'm the only person doing all of the shows, and I could get those shows chucked out in time by myself. My idea, was, why can't we have a team that gets those shows done on time when we have multiple people working on the show? So
Yeah.
it's been a back and forth struggle. You know, I'm just being transparent about it. They'll be open and honest with it, I'm sure, as well, on why they would or would not want to do these shows. But right now, as it looks like Worlds Collide is going to be a full-on show. You know, UK,
Really?
yeah, takeover. No, not for the JRPL. That's the thing. It is going to be a show that's like, it's basically going to be like a takeover. It's going to be a pay-per-view type show on the network. But the creative team has decided that's not going to happen. And there's no arguing with this one. Apparently, there's no vote. There was a vote that happened for Hard to Kill, and it ended up tied. So I guess they ended up going with it. Because I refused to vote. I wasn't going to vote for it, even though I wanted it to happen.
You should have voted for it.
I mean, yeah, it was the vote was 2-2 for like whether we're going to do Hard to Kill, and I would have been the deciding vote. But I'm like, I'm letting you guys decide this. I'm just telling you, I want you to do it, and we should do it. But I'm not going to actually vote, if that makes sense. Because I want them to do run it. But we are not going to be doing Worlds Collide, so that's an announcement if it hasn't been said already.
What's the story behind that though? Because it's aired live, right?
Yes, it is. Like I said, it's basically going to be a live. It's going to be like a pay-per-view. It's going to be,
and it's an NXT show.
It's NXT versus NXT UK. Yeah, technically it should be a main show, but I don't want to. God, you're going to get me in trouble here. Or I'm going to get myself in trouble, I should say. But I'm not calling anybody lazy. Okay. But I think the overall feeling is I don't want to do it. I think because it comes with a lot of work doing these shows. You know, doing like all this stuff, it does come with a lot of work. And doing 4 shows, because that would be the 4th show that month. Because it would be Hard to Kill, Blackpool, Worlds Collide, Royal Rumble. But with my feeling, this is my opinion. I know nobody else is here to give theirs on the creative team. So if you want, ask them in the Discord and they'll tell you, I guess. But my thought is we have a team. I was doing it by myself. I've done 4 shows several times by myself. Why can't we have a team do 4 shows? You know what I'm saying? That was my thought process behind it. But when it came up to a vote, it didn't really go that way. And I'll tell you right now, here's the last talk about Takeover Worlds Collide was on Wednesday this past week.
I mean, this event's kind of a big deal. It's like the first NXT versus NXT UK. Like that's a big deal.
I do agree. The chat was basically, I don't want to do word for word, but I'll paraphrase. Hey, this is going to be like a big show. Like this would be a main card show. Are we going to book it? And it literally just went to no. So there was no like, whole lot of reasons why, because that's what I was trying to get behind. Like, why aren't we doing these? And I think it's just because people, they're saying like, the reason why they said they didn't want to do Hard to Kill is because they said people don't care about it enough to do 2 shows on the same night. But I don't know. That's where we are. I wish CT was supposed to be here tonight, so I wish he was here to talk about this a little bit more from the other side. Because he was one of the ones, I think he'll be fine with me saying this, that he was one of the ones as opposed to he didn't want to do Hard to Kill. So we'll talk about it, I'm sure, in the Discord later on after this comes out. But so right now my struggle with the creative team is there's shows to do. We have multiple people to work on these things. I think we should be doing these shows as opposed to, let's not do this show. Like I'm not getting in my opinion, I'm not hearing a very good reason why not to do the shows. As opposed to the main reason, I guess, just is, well, we don't need to do the show. I'm like, okay, well, the whole reason the JRPL was kind of created was not, it was not initially created for any kind of story like lines. The storylines came afterwards, and turned out being great and so much fun and added so much to the JRPL. But originally, the JRPL was created to just, make watching wrestling pay-per-views more fun, like wagering stuff and having stuff on the line. The only time any shows ever were cut out, because there was a show when I was running it that was cut out. But if you think back, it was it was right near the end. I think it was a UK show, and it was 2 shows on the same night. And I was like, I think it was Full Gear. Oh, no, not Full Gear. All Out or something. It was a AEW show and a UK show, same night. And I was like, I was at that point in the JRPL where I was ready to end it, because I was, we already went through that, but I was ready to end the JRPL, and I wasn't about to do those 2 shows. So that's the only time I really declined having a show. So I really want to see us not do that in the future, and I hope the creative team will get on board with me. But it is overall their decision. So people, if you want shows to be covered and they're not going to be covered, voice your opinion. I'll say that.
Oh, I'm about to put you in the hot seat.
Okay.
But let's say this doesn't change at all. Like creative, like no, we don't want to do this, yada yada. Are you gonna, like, if this happens again in the future, or something like this, are you going to continue to let it happen, or are you gonna change something up?
Oh, am I gonna fire the creative team?
No. Just...
No is the short answer there. But when I went with the creative team, I don't want, because first of all, it'll make me look horrible if I try to pull something like that. So no, I wouldn't do that. Second of all, I do trust a lot of, like, 99% of what everybody's doing. I'm like on board with it. It's just that little bit. Of course there's stuff I'm not going to agree with, like, Hard to Kill and that kind of stuff. Like, I voiced my opinion very openly, like, guys, we need to cover this show. I will not do anything. I do not plan on pulling any kind of, what do you call, I don't know the name of it. Like, not creative control, but like, hey, I'm the veto. Top guy. Yeah. Veto, I guess, or something. Like, I'm the top guy. You don't agree with me, so you're gone, or something like that. The whole point of the creative team is to vote on things. And hopefully we have an odd number. Jace is supposed to be on the creative team, but he's stepped away. So that's why we have an even number of votes right now. If Jace was there, we would not have had a tie for Hard to Kill, but, that's just where we are. But, I do not plan on, like, ousting anyone just because they don't agree with me. No, I want, this to be like, when I legit say the creative team is running the JRPL, not me. Like, that's literally what's happening. I will give my input. But I'm not going to overrule anybody unless it's something so horrible like that is like, so I guess I shouldn't say I'll never do it, because if it's something so bad, so bad, I guess I could do it. But
fart bucket next world title shot. There we go.
Exactly. I'm like, no. But there has been, for example, one of the recent shows, there was a controversial ruling, or I forgot what it was. Maybe you guys remember. There was a ruling where
War Games?
Maybe. I don't know. There was a controversial ruling in the JRPL where everybody's like, oh, well, this should be this way. What about this? And somebody came to me, I forgot who it was, and asked me, like, well, what are we going to do? And I'm like, talk to the creative team. I have no idea. Like, I'm not making those decisions. The creative team, and I remember they got in the little chat and they talked about it all through, like, the show. I wish I could fucking remember what it was, though.
Only thing I can remember recently was when we were at War Games. It was what's her face got removed.
I think so. I remember Beer Me was like freaking out in the chat.
Mia Yim got attacked.
Maybe that's what it was. In a match got thrown out. That is what it was. A match got thrown out and people were asking about stuff. I provided a link to the ruling on that topic. But I had no input at all on what the ruling was going to be. I gave the link and I was like, hey, this is the rule that's in place right now. If the creative team somehow wanted to go overrule that and change it, I guess they could have. I don't think they did, but those kinds of things that will happen. That's the one thing that I try to stress to the creative team, that, hey, this is the world of wrestling is so impossible to get everything like Redhead 12 wants every possible outcome to be put in the rules. And I'm like, my man, you can't because wrestling is so loose. There's always going to be something that happens that questions the ruling on stuff. It's the creative team's job, and it was my job at the time back in the day, to adjust on the fly to the change or whatever happens on the show. You have to make that call and say what's going to happen, because you're not going to be able to come up with every ruling that there is, because wrestling's so loose. You're not going to be able to do that. So that's one thing that I was stressing to them is, hey, you're just going to have to make tough decisions on the fly a lot. That's just part of it, man. That's literally just part of it. But yeah, no, I don't plan on firing anybody if that's if that's.
No, not I, but you know what I mean.
No, sure. Yeah.
Will creative be like adding new shows that we'll do for like different companies, or taking them away? Because you said something about ROH.
Sure. It has been discussed lightly. There's been no like voting or anything on that, but for example, NWA has been brought up. It actually has been brought up in the creative chat on, hey, they look like they're going to be doing a show every month, a pay-per-view every month. Are we going to pick up New Japan? NWA. I will say it was instantly shot down. I will say that. There was no voting that was taking place. It was a, no, we don't need to do that type scenario. Hopefully, stuff like that. If NWA continues to be a thing, and they show that they are going to be, every month or every other month or whatever, they're probably going to be more active than Impact, actually, pay-per-view wise, it looks like. So if they are going to be like that, I think it needs to be brought up as a discussion instead of just, hey, should we do this? No. Okay. Like that kind of which is what happened. That's like what happened with it. Like, well, no, well then why no? You know what I mean? Like why should we not cover this anymore if it's picking up steam and it's going to be reliable and that kind of stuff. Ring of Honor, there have been a lot of negative Ring of Honor stuff lately. Like even after Final Battle, several people even popped up into the chat and said, I'm never doing a Ring of Honor show again. And I think this was even brought up in the creative chat. I think the overall feeling was, if the numbers start to dwindle, like participation, then maybe we need to like have that discussion. But until then, I think the thought is, as long as we're getting people that still show up to Ring of Honor shows and still do the Ring of Honor shows, we're gonna keep it. I think that's what the overall idea was behind that. I don't think anybody has really thought about bringing New Japan along, because they just don't have enough. They only have like 2 pay-per-views a year, and I don't think that's like enough to warrant like a show yet. Or I don't think it's been really brought up as a serious topic yet, because I know some people do want New Japan. But those are the 3 main questionable: Ring of Honor, NWA, and New Japan are the 3 that come up in question the most. So I would not expect Ring of Honor to disappear until like numbers start dwindling down really low, or same and NWA, if they keep growing and the audience keeps growing and people want to do it, then maybe the vote will show up to see who wants to do it.
I hope they do eventually.
I do too. Yeah, New Japan, I think, I keep saying New Japan. NWA, I think, could have a really good run in the JRPL if they're. My whole thing is, are they going to be consistent? Like, I don't want to see like 1 show a year or like something like that. 3 shows at the minimum, and I would be on board with it. But, yeah, it's going to come up to like hopefully a vote and see what they say. And like I said, my whole argument right now with the creative team is, guys, we can't be lazy just to be lazy. If there's a reason not to do something, then we won't do it. But there's got to be a reason not to, as opposed to I just don't want to. That's been my whole thing with the creative team so far at this point. So, yeah.
This might be an obvious one, but is AEW, like, is that those pay-per-views, is that going to be like a regular thing?
Oh, well, of course they're gonna be a house show thing for a while. I even mentioned back when I was running everything, if AEW, proves that they're going to be a mainstay and really challenge, be the number 2 company like for a while, I think they should move up to a main show status. But there's been no discussions as of yet to make that happen. But the AEW will always be covered as a house show right now. Every pay-per-view will be a show covered as of this point. But the fact of making it a main show, that's still not a case yet.
Okay. Because I know, I don't remember what show it was, but I know we missed one AEW show.
We have not missed a pay-per-view. There was discussions on that as far as what is a pay-per-view and what isn't a pay-per-view. Because there was like Fyter Fest and there was another one, but those weren't technically pay-per-views, so we didn't cover it. I forgot what the other one, Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen. That was the other one. Fight for the Fallen. Those were like just kind of like house shows. Like Ring of Honor all the time has like Glory by Honor and like all these other kind of shows.
Honor United and stuff.
Yeah. It's very similar to that. Like they're just like events, but they're not like pay-per-views. And that's what those were. But anytime AEW does the actual like pay-per-view, yeah, it will be covered. Yep. I mean, I would assume so. So yeah. So I wouldn't have to worry. I wouldn't worry about not covering a AEW pay-per-view.
Good. So I wouldn't want to crash that creative thing and just like throw everyone through what is it? And my glass thing, whatever the fuck that is. Yeah. Barbershop window.
Yeah, no, it should be. Yeah, no, it should be good. As far as I know, for here on out. Now, I think the only way AEW can go is like up, pretty much. So it may turn into a house show. I mean, it may turn into a main show as we go. So, but yeah, I think that pretty. Any other questions before we head out of here?
Not that I can think of.
No. I mean, it's fun. It's been a fun show.
Yeah. Hey, Beer Me. Hey, welcome to joining the show. I don't know. I mean, not saying you're like a mainstay, but hey, I enjoyed you on the show here, buddy.
Well, thanks.
Thanks
for having me.
Just don't ever fucking show up again, okay? No.
right. Yeah.
Just don't let it ever happen again, okay?
Right.
Yeah, I was trying to get CT on, but he was originally going to be on, but something he just couldn't make it. So I want, hopefully we can get somebody from creative team on. Like Scott is part of the creative team, so he would work, future wise, but he's off. He's on vacation right now out of the area. So, but yeah, who knows? Maybe I hope this went really good. I'm glad you're here, B. I mean, hopefully we can get either you on again or some other guests on in the future. It was fun.
Get Zion on.
Well, thank you. Anytime.
Good luck. Good luck getting Zion on this fucking show. He'll be like, "What is the prediction league? What?"
One of these days, he'll surprise you with Peanut. Like he'll come out of nowhere.
Yeah, that would be, I would be shocked. So yeah, who knows though? You never know. I'm trying to get him on the next Jobber Radio. We're trying to do one this week, and I'm trying hard to get him on for a certain topic that I want to do. So we'll see. He said that he'll try, but you know his schedule. He's a busy man with his streaming. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We will see.
Wait, he's streaming? Peanut streaming?
Peanut ain't streaming. Peanut's in a different world. Matt Zion's always fucking streaming, so it's hard to get him. That's his number one. Why we can't get him on the show really is because he's always fucking streaming. So
well, depending on what he's smoking, he could be in another world.
That's true. No comment on that one. Him and his fucking his mushrooms or whatever the fuck I don't know. He's a fucking I don't know. Don't ask me.
In California, all that shit's legal there.
Yeah. Yep. And more power to him, man. Whatever you got. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat. I ain't judging. But yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. So I'm good. Unless you guys got something else, you can take it out of here, man.
No,
I'm good.
Yeah.
No, good.
Well, it's been fun. It's been fun, but let's just leave. It's fun. Adios, vamonos. Goodbye.